Good morning, colleagues. I'm just testing the sound. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning. Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this meeting this morning. My apology for being 1 minute late. The Wi-Fi at Parliament is a bit of a challenge, so it kicked me out. But I'm back. Can we ask that we screen? Oh, thank you very much for the meeting. Welcome once again to everybody that's present here, the Minister, the Department, the Water Boards, and our honourable members, and then also if there are people from the media or people from outside that is interested in this meeting, good morning and welcome to you all. May I then ask that we observe a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Thank you. Under point 3, apologies. I have received a letter from the Minister that needs to leave us at 10 o'clock. Minister, you're more than welcome then to leave the meeting. But thank you that you are here to open this meeting. Can I just find out from Nosipa whether there's any other apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson. There is no apology from the committee members.
Thank you very much. Can we then move forward? Overview of the corporate plans of water boards by the Department of Water and Sanitation. And can I then hand over to the Minister and the Department? Minister?
Sorry,
Thank you
Chair.
very much.
Good morning. Yes, my apology.
Morning.
Yes.
Morning, Chair. I can't see my icon to raise my hand. I am Shumela Mandashe, PLO, to Deputy Minister Mahlobo. We did send out an apology yesterday to Nosipo indicating that the Deputy Minister will be attending the social cabinet meeting.
Thank you. We
Thank you,
take
Chair.
cognizance of that verbal apology. Nasima, would you just follow up whether we received that in writing as well? Deputy Minister, sorry for the interruption. Minister, can I then hand over to you?
Chair, thank you very much, Honourable Chair, to honourable members of the Portfolio Committee. Chair, let me start by officially put an apology of Honourable Mahlobo, which is in line with my apology. I requested Honourable Mahlobo to attend the Cabinet Committee so that I can stay throughout the meeting and withdraw my apology to leave earlier, stay throughout, then Honourable Mahlobo attend the Cabinet Committee. Thank you very much, Chair. Honourable members, the DG management as well as the boards. Honourable Chair, we are here today to brief the Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation 2024-25 corporate plans of water boards. In addition, the committee invited Vaal Central, you invited Overberg and Magalies boards to brief the committee on their corporate plans and also reflect on the achievement and challenges for the period 2019 to 2024. Chairperson and honourable members, the Magalies Water Board submitted a written request to the committee to reschedule its presentation to the 5th. But I do know, Honourable Chair and honourable members, that we are going for the constituency a week, so you might be there anytime feasible for the committee. The Magalies will come and make a presentation. The reason for their non-attendance today is because in accordance to the schedules of the board, they have standing meetings that it was long pre-arranged. The audit committee meeting could not be changed because of legislative compliance requirements. It is not by any way undermining the committee not to come when invited by the committee. So hence they are not here, Chair, and they request a date from you. Whilst they indicated the 5th, but will depend on the availability of the committee when Parliament is in session. the Honorable Chair and members, to comply with statutory reporting requirements, our water boards are required annually to submit a corporate plan and shareholder compact to the Department of Water and Sanitation and National Treasury. And they've been doing that, I must confirm here, Chair. We decided through the interaction with your office, Chair, that let's bring 3 boards, replace Magalies today by uMngeni-uThukela Water Board to take that slot of Magalies, so that we bring 3 as you expected to engage or interact with the 3 water boards. They are here. And the 3 water boards, they are functioning very well to our satisfactory. They do have challenges, Chair, I must say, and honorable members. The challenges are in the main from the clientele. The highest percentage of our clientele is the municipalities, which are unable to pay on time, but also the infrastructure that they inherited, especially where they are assisting municipalities, is an old and decaying infrastructure. Chairperson and honorable members, we are very pleased that you have invited us with the committee, with the boards, to be here. We have various interactions as the department with the National Treasury, DPME, and Auditor General to seek ways to improve our oversight. To this end, the department is developing an improved oversight model to strengthen governance and financial performance and service delivery for all entities reporting to the minister. This will ensure that shareholder compacts entered between the minister as an executive authority and the boards are monitored and well regulated with clear key performance indicators. I'm raising this, Chair, because it was raised by the Auditor General, hence we had to act on such. I want to thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I don't want to take most of the time because we want to interact more with the water boards today. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members.
Thank you very much, Minister. Yes, we have reallocated Magalies, and they have already been informed, although our planning has changed because we're going on to Constituency Week, but the Secretariat has already made the necessary changes, so they have been informed of the new date. We've just swapped them with the other water board. DG, are you continuing now?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. The presentation will be made by our Chief Director for Water Institutions Governance, Toko Sigwaza. Toko.
Thank you, DG, Minister, Chairperson, and honorable members. Thank you very much for this opportunity for us to present an overview of the consolidated overview of the corporate plans for the water boards. We will touch on the key strategic priorities for water boards for the medium-term expenditure framework, which is 3 years, the legislative imperatives, a brief overview of where we are with the reconfiguration of water boards, and then the key indicators around the corporate plans and water boards will go into details, and then the financial overview over the next 3 years. And in terms of the key strategic priorities for the next 3 years, Chair and members, the main issue that is facing water boards is the water conservation and demand management, particularly around the Vaal River and uMngeni systems. Both water boards, uMngeni and Randwater, are working with the water users around those systems. And the next one is around the revenue enhancement with a target of consolidated revenue of 110 billion within the 3 years. This also involves the issue of strengthening the credit control procedures and implementing this standard operating procedures and other revenue strengthening procedures. They are also focusing on capital investments in terms of the investment in infrastructure, and the projected investment over the 3 years is 27 billion, of which 18 billion will be coming from rainwater and 4.6 billion from uMngeni-uThukela. There is also going to be a focus around technical support of the retail business, because if the retail business is not going well, it affects the entire water value chain. With rainwater focusing on Emfuleni, the SPV, and also the uMngeni-uThukela around eThekwini wastewater treatment works. We are also going to focus on the growth development strategies, which means expanding the business of Amatola, Overberg, Magalies, and Lepelle Northern Water. And the main focus will also be around turning around the business of Vaal Central and Magalies Water, since they received the assets and liabilities of Sedibeng Water, so ensuring that their operational efficiencies are turned around. We will also continue to build relationships and support networks with the 79 water services authorities who are customers of water boards. We also want to maintain the good credit ratings for the 2 water boards that are listed in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and also to ensure that we build investor confidence in all water boards. In terms of legislative imperatives, Chairperson, I think a lot of members know about the functions of water boards in terms of Section 29 of the Water Services Act. The primary activity of the water board is to provide water services, bulk and reticulation to other water services institutions within their area of operation. In other words, water boards support municipality to deliver water services. The Minister of Water and Sanitation is a shareholder and an executive authority for water boards, and has the mandate to appoint boards and provide oversight over these entities. In terms of corporate plans and quarterly reporting, the water boards have to submit a projection of revenue, expenditure, and borrowings for that financial to the minister a month before the start of the new year, and also a corporate plan in the prescribed format covering the affairs of that entity for the next 3 years. In terms of the shareholder compact, in terms of treasury regulation, the minister is supposed to enter into a shareholder compact on an annual basis with the water boards. And in terms of reconfiguration of water boards, this project was started 2 years back. It's almost completed. From the 9 water boards, we now have 7 water boards. And during this period, 2 were disestablished, which is Sedibeng, and Mhlathuze Water was also disestablished, and it was merged with the uMngeni-uThukela. This is the geographical location of all the water boards in the country. And in terms of the governance protocol for entities, the minister meets with the chairpersons of all of the water boards to outline their strategic intent to once a year And after that, the entities start their process of initiating the corporate plans, and their corporate plans are based on the department strategic plan, which guides the entities in terms of the vision and strategic direction. I've already mentioned the shareholder compact, that it outlines the key performance indicators to be achieved, and it's signed between the board and the minister. And then the corporate plans are also submitted annually to our minister and also to National Treasury a month before the start of the financial year. And then the corporate plans indicates the detailed key performance indicators and the desired outcomes for socio-economic development in the country. They also submit quarterly reports to the minister and annual reports, and they also submit tariff submissions to Parliament through the department and minister by 15 March every year, and also they are expected to report to Portfolio Committee. This is the business process flow of water boards corporate plans, which begins in April for every year and end up with the tabling of these corporate plans to Parliament in June, July. I will not go into details, but the analysis is done by not only by the department, but by National Treasury and also SALCA. In terms of the shareholder compact, this slide indicates the key indicators that the water boards conclude with the minister to ensure that the business is viable and sustainable, that there is stakeholder engagement, adequate planning for water resources, that they are also managing water demand in the area, and also to ensure sustainable growth, effective and efficient communication, and also comply with legislation and also financial sustainability of the business. And then in terms of the indicators, we had about 26 key performance indicators that the water boards report on a quarterly basis, but we have just selected the key ones so that the members can have a gist of what the water boards will be reporting on. Today, they will be touching on the quality of the water in terms of compliance, that they are complying with the South African National Standards 241. They will be talking about the issues around non-revenue water, how they are doing in terms of the reducing the levels of unaccountable water, and also the reliability of supply, that they are able to supply water without interruptions within 24 hours. They will also be talking about their financial standing and reporting in terms of the audit, projected audit outcomes. Also the issue of service delivery, access, how they are doing, and also the issue of governance in terms of managing the organization as a whole. They will also touch on whether they have the bulk supply agreements in place, the secondary activities that they are dealing with, the training and skills development, jobs creation, and also the corporate social responsibilities. Because of the amount of work and the KPIs that are involved in the agreement between minister and them, they might not deal with all of them, but all of these are in their corporate plans. They are listed. The next slide just indicates that all water boards did comply as of 30 April with the submission, and also in terms of the shareholders compact, we are pleased with their compliance and the corporate plans. And the process started around 30 April 2024, and we have an appraisal, a committee that sat on 21 to 22 with experts, various experts from the department who met with each water board to appraise their corporate plans. And finally, it was approved by the minister and then tabled in Parliament on the 8th of August. The next slide is the key indicators that we redefined around the bulk potable water quality compliance. This was mainly to ensure that we comply with the blue drop norms and standards, and also the managing avoidable water losses, reliability of supply, and also the percentage of how they are proceeding with increasing the access to services. I have already, Chairperson, spoken about the shareholder compact that the minister has also mentioned it, that we are revising it so that we can improve oversight model and to strengthen governance and financial performance of the entities. And then in terms of the consolidated financial overview over the MTF period, this is the projections that has been highlighted by the water boards that by end of within 3 years, we project 110 billion, of which 66 billion will be from rainwater and 23 from uMngeni-Water, and the various other water boards are listed in terms of the revenue projections, and also in terms of capex. We are projecting 27 billion over the 3 years. Chairperson, that is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much, DG and Minister.
Thank you very much. Can we then continue with the first water board with their presentation?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. It's good to see you, although it's at a different water board. Also, congratulations with your appointment there. I really think we will miss you in Magalies Water, but congratulations, and you're welcome now to continue.
Thank you.
Maybe just before you start, I just need to indicate to you that you should not do this presentation verbatim. We received this in time. You can go through your slides. You will have 15 minutes to present your presentation, and then we'll go to the other water boards. And after that, there will be questions asked by the individual members. If the question is to you, you will immediately answer the question, and that's how we will run through it. So we will not give the opportunity at the end to ask all the questions and then the boards answer the questions. So we deal with it one by member. And if the member is not happy, they will ask for clarity on the questions. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. You're more than welcome now to
Thank you, Honorable Basson. Greetings to the honorable members. Greetings to the Minister of Water and Sanitation and colleagues and DG. I'm with the acting chairperson of the board, Honorable Basson, Mr. Mkhize, who's standing in for chairperson, who is currently an acting judge. So he was unable to come and attend the session, and he has deployed Mr. Mkhize to stand in for him. I'm not sure whether Mr. Mkhize will want to just introduce himself, then I can continue with the presentation. Mr. Bason, it looks like there's a communication connection problem for Mr. Mkhize. I'll continue the presentation. Thank you for the opportunity, Chair. As the committee may be aware,
Sorry, Chairperson. Chairperson, on introduction, sorry about that. On introduction of Mr. Mkhize, the speaker said something about judge. Unfortunately, there's a problem of network. So can you please repeat again because we did not hear what is that about? Thank you.
Yeah, honourable member, apologies. We've got some difficult connections here in Cape Town with Wi-Fi. Could you maybe just explain the portion again before you continue? The honourable member did not hear about your chairperson of the board and that he's a judge and he's not available for today. And then you may continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson Advocate Vusi Kuzwayo, who is the chairperson of the uMngeni-uThukela Water Board, is currently appointed as an acting judge in Pietermaritzburg High Court. And he has issued his apology. He is not able to attend the committee. And he has then asked Mr. Sbusiso Mkhize, who is the chairperson of the HR and Remuneration Committee of uMngeni-uThukela Water, to stand in for him in the meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, Chair, as you are aware that in 2022, 2023, the Minister of Water and Sanitation decided to reconfigure Mhlathuze Water and uMngeni Water to form a new water board, which is uMngeni-uThukela Water. This water board is now going to cover the whole of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, instead of having uMngeni Water, which was covering the central and the north and the southern parts, and Mhlathuze only covering a small portion of the northern part. As a result, Chair, our scope has been increased to look at water services in the whole of KwaZulu-Natal. We are hoping that we are now 4 months into the second year of this reconfiguration, and the experience that has been gained by the team and the skills that we have amassed with the two organizations coming together, we will be able to then assist the people of the province of KwaZulu-Natal to receive sustainable and reliable water services that will help with improve and increase the economic actions in KwaZulu-Natal province, and also improve the well-being of the citizens of the province. If we can then move, Chair, I'll skip some of the slides. When we look at the governance of the water board, the minister appointed a new board in October 2023. So the board is just over 1 year now, with a 4-year term. And the CE, which is myself, I started on the 1st of July 2024. So I'm just 4 months into the role. We have also, Chair, after the removal of the moratorium on the hiring, after the amalgamation of the two entities, we're able to move with speed with filling in the vacant executive positions. At the moment, there's only one executive position which is vacant but is in the process of being filled, which is the position of the Chief Procurement Officer. All other positions are filled, and even the lower positions, Chair, we are in the process of completing the filling of those positions after we had the revised organogram approved by the board on the 31st of July this year. When you look at the organization in a glance, for the past 5 years, even now, Chair, with the audit that is being completed by the Auditor General, based on the engagements that we've had with the Auditor General, the organization has achieved the unqualified audit opinions, and we are dealing with matters of emphasis with the hope, with the aim, Chair, of achieving a clean audit in less than 2 years from now. And we believe that if we put measures in place to deal with matters of emphasis and material irregularities, we will be able to achieve that task of achieving a clean audit in less than 2 years from now. When you look at the organization at a glance, Chair, we are saying uMngeni-uThukela Water has 2 subsidiaries that we have formed. There is uMngeni Water Services, which is a front-ending load business that is meant to look at a new business and growth of the scope of the current operations of uMngeni-uThukela Water. uMngeni Holdings, Chair, it's a subsidiary that is mainly looking at Section 30 business of managing water resources, where we have a task allocated to us by the department to manage water resources, especially in the uMngeni system, the dams and other water resources. But with the new mandate, we are expanding also the operations of uMngeni Holdings to look at other catchment areas within the area that we are operating. So that is what uMngeni-uThukela looks like, reporting to the shareholder, which is the Minister of Water and Sanitation, and with the Parliament through the Portfolio Committee now conducting oversight on the operations of this entity. We can jump this, Chair. I think we can jump this slide. The committee knows the mandate of the water boards, which is Section 29 and Section 30. Our vision, Chair, is to be a leader in sustainable water services in the developing world. So we are not only looking at us operating in the KwaZulu-Natal, but we want to say, once we are done with ensuring that the sustainability of water services in KwaZulu-Natal, we can look at other areas where there are water challenges, where we can then expand and utilize our skills to address issues of water challenges. We can skip this slide. When we look at our strategic map, Chair, we are saying who do we want to be? And we are saying we want to be an entity that invests in its people and skills, an entity that invests in technology and innovation, and invest in relationships and partnerships, invest in infrastructure, stability and reliance, and financial sustainable initiatives, and invest in value proposition for its customers. So when you look at our corporate plan, you will see that all these come out in our corporate plan, and the KPIs also address exactly what we want to be, which will then ensure that we achieve our vision as an entity. We can skip also this. These are our strategic focus, Chair, which is operational excellence, where we want to deliver services of our reliability and quality and quantity, and in terms of also the appropriate technologies, and also ensure that our tariffs are affordable to our customers, and we also remain a sustainable entity, operating as a going concern for perpetuity. We want to focus also on research, development, and innovation, so that we can capitalize on new technologies that are there, so that we can be able to then drop the the cost per kiloliter of water for our customers while we are implementing new technologies that are out there. We want also to collaborate with our partners with the aim, Chair, that we will be able to form relationships that that will sustain the organization going forward. When you look at the corporate plan, the way we have aligned with the legislative mandate, we have aligned our corporate plan with the Vision 2050. We have aligned it with the National Development Plan. We have aligned it with the National Water and Sanitation Master Plan and the National Water Resource Strategy, the PFMA, and finally with the Water Services Act. You can move from this one. Chair, I think this is the slide where I will want to focus and then hand over to the CFO, Mr. Tamim Kwanazi, to just tell us about the finances going forward, to say where do we see ourselves. As I've said, that we are operating in KwaZulu-Natal, which is a 94,000 square kilometer area with 12.4 million people in terms of population and 2.9 million households. Chair, out of the 14 water services area, water service authorities, you will see in the map that is showing here, the dark green areas are water services authorities that are currently serviced by the uMngeni-uThukela water. And the ones that are showing in a bit of light color, it's 6 water service authorities where uMngeni-uThukela water does not have the footprint. And the entity that I talked about, which is uMngeni Water Services, which is our subsidiary, we have tasked them to develop strategies for us to be able to then start to penetrate those water services authority, with the aim, Chair, that by the end of the 5-year period of this corporate plan, we will be having a footprint in all those water services authority, either as a water service provider licensed by the department, or as a bulk water service provider, as a water board, assisting them with the provision of bulk water services and allowing the municipalities to deal and continue with the reticulation or retail business. That is, in a nutshell, Chair, what uMngeni-uThukela water is. I will then ask the CFO, in the interest of time, to then talk us about the slide that talks of the financial synopsis, to give the committee members an understanding to say where do we stand in terms of the finances. Thank you.
CFO, you may continue.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and greetings. I will then maybe jump into the slide, the financial synopsis slides. I think if you can just move to that next slide. The next one, it goes, yes, this one. Chairperson, the first graph shows a slight upward movement, I think, for the 25 corporate plan on the operating profits. This is due to the reduction of volumes, which have been caused by the us having to comply with the abstraction license limits. Now, this will have a cumulative effect of about 500 million rand reduction in our revenue over the 2 years, which is the corporate plan 25 and then 2020 and as well as 2026. In response to that, Chair, the organization is going to have to reduce operating costs as well as our capital expenditure, but also look at an increase in our bulk water tariff. The next slide, Chair, This is now showing the detail in the reduction of the volumes. You will notice that there's a 3.6% decrease in our water volumes in the year 2025 forecast, as well as a 4.9% reduction in the following year, which is the 2026 financial year. So there will be reductions. I think the table then shows in total where you see that there's a reduction from 638 million kiloliters down to 636 in 2025, as well as 606 in 2026. The next slide, Chair, talks about the infrastructure investment over the 5-year period starting in 2025, finishing in 2030. And it shows that uMngeni-uThukela Water has a 16 billion rands capital expenditure program over the 5 years. This is there's a slight reduction of about 4.9 billion rands that relates to us having to adjust our capex based on the projected revenues that we're gonna be actually generating. But you will notice, Chair, that the 30-year period, there will be an improvement which will then have a catch-up of that 4.9 billion rand shortfall to get us to a 1.8 billion rand increase in our capital expenditure, which will be 46.6 billion rands. The next slide, Chair. Next slide. The next slide, Chair, just shows the detail of the capital expenditure projects that we are busy embarking on, and some that we will be embarking on over the 5-year period, that is 25 to 2030. The big projects being uMkomazi water project, as well as Lower uMkomazi bulk water scheme. I will not detail the other ones. We've provided the committee with the list. I think the next slide as well shows the list of those capital expenditure projects that we will be actually involved in the next 5 years. The next slide shows how the entity will then be funding these capital expenditure programs. And uMngeni-uThukela Water will start actually drawing down on the loans from 2026. You will notice that we are planning on drawing down about 1.5 billion rands in as at 30 June 2026 through a 15-year loan, 2.5 billion rands on 30 June 2027, also through a 15-year loan, and then 1.5 billion in 2028, 1 billion in 2029, and a drawdown of a further 1.6 billion in 2030. This actually will accumulate itself into a total debt of about 8.1 billion rands over the 5-year period. And then we've just summarized, Chair, action items as well as the outlook, where we're saying that whilst uMngeni-uThukela Water has produced surpluses above 1 billion rands over the past 3 years, the trend is about to turn in the time being, based on the fact that there is those reductions in sales volumes. And this means that we need to increase our fiscal discipline. The water curtailment, as I've mentioned, have a 500 million rand negative impact on our revenue. And then we're going to ensure that all mandates are funded, inclusive of the ministerial directives that we are busy operating on. There will be tight credit control initiatives that are going to be implemented in conjunction with understanding the water service authorities, which is our customers' business models, and to ensure that we reduce the 2 billion rand debt that is owed by these customers to the water board. We are forecasting a base case tariff increase of about 13.5%. And we are looking at the fact that there will be double-digit tariff increases over the next 5 years. We do actually have a challenge that if our tariffs are frozen, like either a 0% tariff or reduced than what we're forecasting, we might require adjustments down to our operating expenditures as well as our capital expenditures. And these will compromise the ability of the entity to actually provide the required water services. As Chairperson, you'd understand, the Water Board does not receive any monies from the fiscus. We have to generate our own revenues. I'll stop there for now, Chair, and then maybe allow the CE to come back. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, if I just give a quick look back, we can skip this slide. This is Chair just indicating the challenges that we are having in terms of the blue drop system. What is important is that there are no water service authority out of the 14 that are at the critical stage, but we want to then move the ones that are showing at yellow to a green and a blue, which is excellent level. So there is work that is cut out for us to be able to then improve the blue drop scores in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We can then skip all the slides and go to the challenges.
You've got 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Chair. Chair, if we look at the challenges that has been faced by the organization, looking back, we had a delay in the signing of the offtake agreement by mainly the eThekwini municipality, to a lesser extent by UGU, for the uMngeni water project, which has meant that the coming online of the uMngeni water project has been delayed. It was supposed to come online now in 2024, which would have assisted us in terms of complying with the directive by the Department of reducing the obstruction in the uMngeni system, because we were going to then use the water from the uMngeni system to then supplement the water that is needed in eThekwini. So at the moment, with the 10% reduction of the water supply obstruction in the uMngeni system, which is equivalent to about 100 megaliters a day, we are going to see the two municipalities, which is Msunduzi and eThekwini, having water challenges for some time until uMngeni water project come online in 2027. The effects of climate change has had a serious impact on the operations of uMngeni-uThukela water, with the drought that started around 2016 until 2021. We had to struggle to ensure that we supply sustainably the water, and immediately after the droughts, we have experienced the situations where there was floods. As a result, two of the aqueducts that we are supplying water to our water treatment plants, the Durban Heights and the other plant there, were washed away by the floods, and we have since managed to repair them, Chair. But we are still struggling with the issue of the secondary supply, especially from the Inanda Dam to Durban Heights and to Wiggins, in case where we have high contamination of algae in the uMngeni system. The Inanda Dam becomes the alternative, which because of the size and the dilution effect, we are able to then draw water from and supply the Durban Heights water treatment works, which is our biggest plant at 610 megaliters a day. I think the last point that I want to share with the committee in terms of the challenge is a well-known phenomenon of debt, where we have seen that the debt by the municipalities is spiraling out of control, which makes it difficult for the water board to continue to supply and operate sustainably. And I think it's a matter that needs to be addressed in the country, because it's not only uMngeni-uThukela, but all 7 water boards are currently facing the same challenges in terms of poor payment by the water services authority that are being supplied. Chair, I would like to end here, because the other slides are just looking at the issues of water losses, which we have talked about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we then move to Vaal Central?
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson, honorable members of the committee, Minister, as well as other colleagues on the platform. Chairperson will converse our presentation over 2 pillars. One, I will just make an overview and touch on salient issues, then allow the CEO, acting CEO, as well as the CFO to take us through. Chair, it is important to, let's get to the first slide. It will be important that I leave the mission strategic objectives and deal with an overview and touch a bit on the organizational environment and liquidity, briefly perhaps with the audit outcomes, and then the colleagues will take from the 8th slide because of time. The birth of the Vaal Central is a consequence of an integration of the 2 entities, which is in its nature the then defunct CDB that was established, as well as the then Bloom Water. In that amalgamation, which came with its own challenges, it took place on the 1st of July 2022, and then the new entity came in 2023. What were the resultant issues of that measure? The measure resulted in the expansion of the service area from 3 water services authorities to 13 water services authorities, with 26 mines, as well as cross-border, servicing both the Free State as well as the Northern Cape, and indeed a portion that went to Makwesi Hills. This amalgamation, from the operational point of view, resulted into two unequal and different operational cultures that existed within the entities. These 2, consequent to that, will then touch on the governance of the institution. We're currently operating with the acting CEO whose term is coming to an end at the end of the month, and of course, the new emergence of the new CEO that is taking office from the 1st of November, which of course dovetailed with the first year of existence of the Vaal Central Water Board. Indeed, what compounds the issue in terms of the area is, of course, the expansion has brought about some of the municipalities that in their own nature were, of course, posing daunting challenges, which resulted in the ministerial directives being given to assist them, particularly Machabeng, as well as Maluti Pofu, which, of course, Chair, in terms of the amalgamation, we amalgamated Vaal Central at the disestablishment of CDB, which had a debt of 6 billion, which debt has now increased to 10 billion to the Vaal Central. Equally so, the lack of service delivery, which is concomitant to the non-maintenance for years of the infrastructure, sewer spillage, and non-water provision. precisely over the aging infrastructure and the debts that had gone up. But what are we then doing? We are, of course, during these turbulent times, stabilized governance. We are implementing, obviously, the credit controls as well as the debt recovery plans with the assistance of the department and the intervention of the minister, which of course has played a critical role in improving the stakeholder relationship with the provinces. And we have seen some emergence of the payment with some of the municipalities. And indeed, to a larger extent, the department has engaged Treasury, and Treasury will be implementing measures that will ensure that the non-payment by the municipalities, particularly Machabeng as well as Kopanong, becomes the issue of the past, with the, of course, withholding and the redirection of the conditional grants that are normally given to the municipality. That will ensure that we have the stabilization of the liquidity and the funding of the institution. Chair, it is worth noting and to indicate that amongst the challenges is that the entity is operating at a skeleton staff in relation to key critical components. However, we have completed the reconfigured organizational structure, which will of course take shape from the new from this financial year. What are the successes that we have come through this issue? One is the stabilization of the institution. Two is the construction of the 33.7 pipeline that will then augment the bulk service to the Mangaung. Three, we have stabilized in terms of the governance above all for the past 11 years, and in particularly for the last 4 years, we have seen the entity receiving the unqualified audit report, of course, with some matters of emphasis. Indeed, we have also improved the confidence of the public in relation to the former existing irresponsible and non-compliant attitude of the then CDBank, where, of course, the entity became the haven of fraud and corruption, and the collaboration between the SIU and the Hawks has, of course, instilled some confidence within the community. We have also taken advantage where necessary to intervene as Vaal Central to ensure that there are services given to the municipalities over and above the ministerial interventions. However, the non-payment to the ESCOM poses a daunting challenge even on the refurbished water treatment plant as well as other areas, simply because, and particularly in the area of Machabeng, we know that the mining industry or the theft within the mining industry, the informal mining, has caused into the infrastructure of that particular area. Having said that, Chair, I thought prudent that I give over to the CEO or the CFO to take us through to ensure that we cover the rest. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and Minister, and the members of the committee. My name is Dimaka Somorosi. Chairperson has already covered most of the slides. I will just talk to 2 slides so that to confine myself within the 15 minutes, give over to the acting CFO. The chairperson has already alluded to the issues of directives, and I think it is important to just highlight the 2 directives on what kind of work we are supposed to be doing. The first one being Machabeng. It is important that in Machabeng we are appointed for refurbishment and upgrading of our wastewater treatment works. And of importance is that there were 11 water treatment works that are 11 that are existing in Machabeng. Out of that 11, 9 of them are not operational. Therefore, this is where we come in as Vaal Central to ensure that we refurbish and upgrade the 9 of the 11 water treatment works. With regard to refurbishment of sewer pump stations, of the 57 sewer pump stations, 52 are not operational. So this is where we come in to come and refurbish the sewer pump station. And lastly, to unblock the sewer network pipelines and those chambers that have blocked. Now, of the total 1,543 kilometer sewer pipelines, most of it is blocked. Therefore, this is where we have now divided that pipeline into 24 refurbishment projects that we are busy doing. The next slide, we'll be talking to the Maluti Aquaphone, the scope of work that we are doing. We are upgrading the water treatment works as well, so that we can be able to improve the quality of water and then achieve blue drop status like other municipalities. Of the total 4 water treatment works, we are currently upgrading and refurbishing all of them. And if you look at Fika Paso, which is the main one, it has now reached a practical completion stage and has been handed over to the municipalities in July 2024. Also, we are upgrading the bulk pipeline to replace the age infrastructure and increase water supply so that we can meet the current and future demand. Of the total 5 projects of upgrading the pipeline, it is important to mention that we are also replacing the dilapidated infrastructure, and we are now trying to be able to meet the demand. Also, refurbishment and upgrading of sanitation infrastructure. The total number of the wastewater treatment works are 7, and 44 sewer pump stations that are requiring refurbishment and upgrading. All the infrastructure is not operational in Maluti Aquaphone, and mainly due to vandalism and theft. So this is where Vaal Central is currently busy restoring the operationalization of this infrastructure. And lastly, we are also assisting the municipality with matters of operation and maintenance, where we are looking basically on the entire leaks. Because if you look at what is currently really taking all the water, that the little that is being produced in Maluti Aquaphone, it's lost through the leakages. We also, after amalgamation, we were confronted with the system of Vaal Fontaine. Vaal Fontaine is the main water plant of the former Sidibeng, and is the one that is supplying the region of Machadeng. And if this system collapses, like we found it, you will then have all the problems that we are having in Machadeng, whereby all the time there was no supply of water due to the system shutdown. However, what the department did was to fund the system with 243 million, and the total projects there is 59 projects that we are doing. We must remember, Chairperson, that after amalgamation, this system was totally collapsed because it has not been maintained for the past 10 years, as the Chairperson has already alluded to. So those are the issues that we are attending to: electrical works, project, mechanical and civil work that will ensure that the system is working. And I would like to pass and then give over, if you allow me, the shareholder compact to the CFO just to take us through. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Good morning, Chairperson, Minister, and everybody else on the platform. I'll be taking you through the shareholders compact. The shareholders compact has has been informed by the approved tariffs and the forecasters numbers linked to that following the processes of the tariff approvals in terms of the legislative process in terms of circular number 23. The ratios also linked to that are also prescribed, and these are also aligned to ministerial outcomes, the Department of Water and Sanitation strategic goals, and then also the water board strategic objectives. It's been categorized under financial performance, customer stakeholders, interactions, organizational capacity. So these things are being addressed and also being approved by the department. If we look at the financial planning assumptions as well in the business plan, these are also linked to the approved tariffs. I think if I maybe just can highlight some of the concerns that we as a water board have, is the affordability of tariffs. It currently can't keep up with the infrastructure requirements. We've got infrastructure that is quite an old age, as well as the backlog that has been alluded to by the chairperson as well as the CE. The department has also assisted with some funding to try and see how we can catch up with some of those backlogs that we are experiencing since the amalgamation with the former City Bank. If we look at the other critical component, if we look especially on the input costs, significant input costs that we have been experiencing over recent years, especially from electricity perspective, electricity costs have increased significantly over the last few years, and it's almost crowding our ability to perform from other operating expenditure side and still ensure affordable tariff increases. We also perform some Section 30 activities towards some of the other Bokwane and Gasponyane municipalities, which we have also included in the financial planning assumptions. But we have also made provision for that we need to receive some kind of grant funding in the short and medium term to ensure the sustainability of the entity. The major risk though for the entity is the liquidity risk. We've got a concentration of certain municipalities, but there are processes that are unfolding to ensure that the water board is becoming sustainable. That has been indicated as the standard operating procedure to ensure that we have got a standard approach in collecting of debt throughout the water boards. There's also the IGR process that has been unfolding in terms of the minister's intervention. There's also engagements between COPA and National Treasury by the department, and we're holding an equitable share that has been alluded to. And then there's a debt relief scheme which we try and implement is in the process of finalization to ensure that there's an incentive towards these municipalities to pay their current accounts while there would be amount taken off to the old outstanding arrears. Since the amalgamation, we have inherited significant creditors and the non-paying customers, and this trajectory on the non-paying we need to improve on that, otherwise it's going to become unsustainable. Thank you. Let me just pause there. Thank you.
And through you, lastly, Chairperson, is that the Chairperson has already alluded to the challenges, which is the non-payment of municipality, like everybody knows. And it is important that the new entity is funded through the payment of the municipalities, and also that we can get started also with our CAPEX plan implementation, so that we are able to maintain our infrastructure. So the sustainability of the entity is the key issue now. And I will leave the chairperson to now conclude. Thank you very much, chairperson.
Thank you very much. Have you now concluded?
Thank you, Chair. In conclusion, we then had to deal with the risk mitigation factors that we have placed into the form to ensure that the institution is sustainable. It is, of course, amongst others, is the collaboration with the Auditor General's office, as well as the provincial government, in terms of the two provinces, both premiers, as well as the MECs responsible for local government and treasury, to collaborate and ensure that we recover and the payments are made strategically. And the third one in the risk mitigation factors is the much appreciated intervention of the Minister as well as the Director General in collaborating and, of course, engaging Treasury to ensure that some of the bad debts within the books are written off on the conditionality that the municipalities are paying the current account and vice versa, to ensure that we then begin to stabilize and normalize. The third and the last one, it's where possible, where we then assume the responsibility of the internal services where the municipality is unable to do so. Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the Minister and the honorable members.
Thank you, Advocate. Can we now continue to Overberg Water Board?
Good morning, Portfolio Committee Chairperson, Minister, Portfolio Committee members, Department personnel, other water boards. I'm Razin Benjamin, Chairperson of Overberg Water Board. I am joined by Dr. Buthelezi, CEO, Ms. Jeffries, CFO, and Mr. Mletse, the Acting Executive Manager of Water Services. For the interest of time, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Buthelezi to take us through this morning's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Buthelezi. You've got 20 minutes to conclude your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson, Minister, BG, and the leadership of the department and committee members. I greet you all. My presentation will cover these 6 areas. We'll try to do them at once so that we save more time and we allow questions.
Dr. Buthelezi, my apology. Could you just for a few seconds put on your camera so that the new members could see you? And then you're more than welcome to put it off again. Thank you. My apology.
Thank you.
Yeah, we haven't seen you, but okay, thank you.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, it's very small, but if it is what it is, continue.
Okay. Okay. It's that one. Is that one? Oh. Is it fine now? No.
Dr. Buthelezi, please continue.
I'm not sure now what is Dr. Buthelezi doing, dancing now.
Yeah.
I was trying to on the camera. How's it now? Is it fine?
Hey, that's better, Dr. Buthelezi. Now we can see you. You may continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about that. Presentation, yes. Oh, it's on. Okay. My presentation, Chairperson. It is important to note that Overberg Water has been having its own challenges for the past 5 years or 6 years or so. We've managed to change things around, coming from the history of non-compliance to where we are today. In 2017, we had to do all 3 financial years which are standing at a go. And since then, we managed to do things. That was due to the new leadership that came on board. as well as the new board that came on board, which also assisted us to improve our internal controls to be where we are today, and also to ensure that there's accountability throughout the entity. I think it is important to note that all the water, in terms of the Overberg water vocabulary, is being considered the smallest Overberg water board in the country. However, its impact are much bigger than its size. That will demonstrate later on. I think for us it is important to consider, as Mr. Gwaza in her presentation mentioned earlier on about the growth path strategy, to consider expanding our services, not only in terms of geographical expansion, but in terms of improving within the current situation where we reduce non-revenue water that seems to be a challenge due to our infrastructure, as well as identify opportunities that will make us to grow bigger in terms of revenue collection as well as sustainability. It is therefore important to note that our main objective is to become the regional water services utility of choice within the province of the Western Cape, and then also to consider what has happened over the years. The entity, if you look at its historical performance, next slide please, you will notice that when I referred to the 3 years which were outstanding, it was for 2015-16, 2016-17. We all did those years in 2017-18 because they were outstanding. But since then, we managed over the years to contain the unqualified audit opinions. And 2021, we also managed to get a clean audit. Thereafter, it has been an approach of obtaining unqualified audit opinions due to our consolidated approach of managing Overberg water as one system, irrespective of various schemes situated at different levels. Next slide, please. I think you will notice that in 2018-19, the main key performance indicator there was on organizational efficiency and effectiveness. The performance there at the time left much to be desired due to the fact that our infrastructure is old, more than 40 years old, asbestos pipeline that we are replacing, as well as steel pipes. So pipe best was the norm at that time. And then the system failure was the norm at the time. And our overall performance was 57%. The rest were still going on. The main focus for us was to ensure that there's water in the pipeline. We have to spend a lot of time and a lot of planning to ensure that was the case to improve the situation. Next slide, please. And then in the following year, we started to see a change where the key performance indicator at the time still, which is organizational efficiency and effectiveness, started to improve. Even including all our overall performance started to improve to reach 64%. Obviously, 64% is not something to write home about, but considering the history of the entity, it was an upward trend where we are seeing what we're putting on the ground is becoming a good positive output. And that happens throughout the entire areas of our performance. Next slide, please. And then in 2020-21, a good story began to come to the fore, where again on organizational efficiency, water supply, where our focus was, because all other areas were doing quick wins. We also saw that there was an improvement there. We now see that our organizational efficiency improved. It was improved because there was so much investment that we had to do, where to even withdraw our investment to invest more in our infrastructure, because our priority was to make sure that there was water in the pipeline. And then you could see from 57, 64, then our performance jumped to 72% because of the concerted effort. By the way, these figures are audited figures. These are not just our own figures, are coming from the AG's report as well. And they've been tested independently. Next slide, please. Then in 2021-22, the same story began to tell, again on organizational efficiency. We see overachievement for the first time, things that was not there, and the rest we continue to improve. The main drawback there is still the non-revenue water due to, as I said earlier on, asbestos, as well as the steel pipes that we need to replace. There's been consistent failures, the pipe beds all over but not mainly from the bulk supply to the municipalities, but mainly to distribution. Because Overwater is quite a unique business enterprise in the sense that we provide water directly, bulk water to our municipalities. At the same time, we distribute or we do a local distribution or the reticulation to approximately 850 individual farmers to cover a pipeline network of 1,450. So it's quite a challenge. So most of our challenges that I'm talking about non-revenue water increase is not in the bulk supply, it's mainly in this reticulation to long distances. And then we also saw a jump in terms of performance to 85%. And then in the next financial year, we also saw next list. And then in 2022-23, we also saw an increase in overachievement. And again, there's a red button there. The red button is mainly water supply, the non-revenue water, due to the failure of our infrastructure. And I must say, Chair, we've done so much to improve in certain areas, but funding is still an issue. You will notice when I come to our challenges that we are facing. Next slide, please. I think coming to what I've said, I think one of our key challenge there is the aging infrastructure, which really compromise water supply and quality, which also erode our customer trust because efficiency rather, because those who have been receiving our water, they know the system when it was still new. They always compare to when it was and now. Obviously, if you drive a Toyota now and a Toyota 40 years, it will be different. Hence, we need to constantly ensure that there's continuous investment in our infrastructure. We replace the asbestos pipe, we replace the steel pipe, we improve on the air valve, we replace the sand filter. So there's so much effort that we are doing. Another challenge that we're facing there, Chairperson, is a lack of organic growth in terms of revenue from water sales due to our geographical location and dominance of the city of Cape Town. I don't want to say this, but the reality is if we approach city and municipality, and of course, there's not a choice to choose whoever, but we would want to offer more services to a number of municipalities that we want to work with. That will help us to increase our revenue. And then there's also a major headache, which is the lack of funding to refurbish our aging infrastructure. However, we are in negotiations with the DPSA. We have just signed a memorandum of agreement, and then from this memorandum of agreement, we'll then agree what is the component which will be a loan, what will be a component which will be a grant, and what interest rate. Will it be a free interest rate? Will it be 5%? We are at that stage at the moment, so there is hope that we would go back to where we used to be. The other thing that is a challenge to us is a tariff backlog that is being felt, which affects our bottom line. If I may share, for the 3 years, we have not been seeing any tariff increase. That was 2003, 2004, 2017, 2018, 2021, 2022. And obviously, if there's no tariff, I think there's always an after effect. That's what we are currently experiencing at the moment. We also have a limited water license, which hinders organic revenue growth, which also affects our opportunities for growth. However, we are currently in negotiations with the department as well as the catchment management agency responsible for the area to increase our water licenses because there's so much demand for water due to population growth, migration, and so on and so forth, mainly from our current customers, which is the Vaal municipality and Hessewa. As I've said earlier on about getting funding, we currently have a weak balance sheet. However, the situation is now improving going forward, and we think that will be the trend, the upward trend. Being a rural water board, ourselves due to our geographical location, it's always a challenge to attract skilled technical staff and who remain in our area for a number of reasons. One, we cannot compete with big cities where they offer good salaries, but also there is an issue around area of operation. I think that we've already addressed now. There seems to be stability, but our key staff they don't seem to stay. Next slide, please. I think this one is just straightforward, but I won't spend a lot of time. I emphasize that, like all other water boards, we've got our vision, we've got our mission, values, programs, and performance indicators, which are 5 goals as agreed between the minister and the board. We deliver on those. Next slide, please. I think it is important to note that Overberg Water covers a vast area of supply, which is 6,000 square kilometers, and our pipeline network is 1,450 square vast. And most of these pipeline networks at distribution points are on private lands. Hence, we need to have a very and maintain a healthy and good working relationship, mainly with the farmers where these pipelines go through. As I've said earlier on, our main customers are municipalities and approximately 860 farmers within the Overberg region. However, there is also another community, which is the retail community that we provide water, as well as individual communities under the Cape Galas municipality, as well as Solenda. Considering the history of our water, it was established as a water board that provides water to farmers, hence farming community is still a dominant component of our customer segment. And then municipalities join later on. Hence, it is not surprising to note that 51% of our revenue comes from the farming community and 41.9% is from the municipalities. We want to regard this as our unique niche market where we provide potable water to farmers who this water, they normally use it for agro processing and also to support not only the Western Cape provincial economy, but the South African economy, considering that the produce that they sell, it goes to various international countries and we tend to attract foreign currencies. We also support food security as well as creating employment within our region, which makes and defines Overberg Water as a strategic asset for the state that at all times must function at an expectation to sustain its niche market of growing the economy, supporting our local development initiatives, and also attracting foreign investment to sustain the GDP. Next slide, please. This also covers the area that we are currently operating from, whilst we are developing our already completed our growth path strategy, which will be submitted to the board and thereafter to the minister in due course. Our catchment management area there is now called the Breda Olifants. It used to be called the Breda Forest Catchment Management Agency. That is the area where we are operating from. Next, please. So there is a close interaction between us and the municipality. If you look here, you will tell that our water supply is quite minute compared to what we are capable of. One of our strategies before we even go outside the region is to provide water is to increase our water supply. And it is interesting to note that we are likely to reach that goal because these local municipalities that we are currently serving, they want more water to cope with an ever-increasing population growth, but also to sustain various spatial development initiatives, such as human settlement and so on and so forth. And then that is the discussion that we're currently having at the moment. Next slide, please. Hence, it is important to guide our license. In terms of our schemes, we can produce more water and more water than what our licenses are offering at the moment. Hence, there are discussions and initiatives between ourselves, the department, and the catchment management agencies to consider our water use authorization license applications in order to cope with the demand. I must also stress that in most cases, the demand comes during the month of December, from December to February, because there will be more visitors here. So we need to ensure that we cope with that demand. Next slide, please. If you look at our assets, even though it is old, but if we don't invest now, we may miss the boat. Hence, it is important to invest, even though you could see that it's relatively okay, but it can move from this relative okay to bad if there is no investment. Hence, there is an aggressive plan from Overberg Water to ensure that our infrastructure or assets remain in a very, very good condition, not just in fair, but in a very, very good condition. Hence, the investment that we have just done in the past 2 years are beginning to talk to that. We developed an intervention plan in order to address this. Next, please. The entire asset condition in terms of percentage, you could tell that it's relatively okay, but okay if there is no investment can become worse. Hence, there is, as I've said, there is an aggressive approach to improve and invest more in our infrastructure because our goal is to ensure that there's water in the pipeline 24 hours, whether it's for the municipalities or it's for agriculture. Next slide, please. This just shows that we understand the importance of investing in our infrastructure. We've got an infrastructure plan which has its own commitment per financial year, and there are specific areas of intervention that we are doing to improve our infrastructure. I'm not going to go to all of them. What is important is we understand the need to invest more in our infrastructure. Hence, we've got a clear plan what to do and how to do it and by when to do it. Yes, and also we've got an intervention plan that we have in place, as well as regular updates on repairs and maintenance. Okay. Next slide, please. I think everything is based on our infrastructure master plan that we developed that clearly shows how much we require. We have shared the figures with the TBSA. Next slide, please. These are just performance indicators. I won't dwell much on them because other colleagues have already touched on. They're all the same. We all need to comply with the standards. We all need to reach our financial ratios and so on and so forth. Proceed, please. Proceed. These are all the same. Proceed. Yes, I think it is important to note that when we get our financial resources, we get it from Devadersloop Dam as well as Devadersloop Dam. Hence, we have a working relationship with water associations. Next slide, please. This is the financial plan that we have. We do see an upward trend in terms of our financial revenue due to our concerted effort to improve our system so that we reduce non-revenue water, but also to reduce unnecessary costs. We are currently applying cost containment measures. In addition to that, we are identifying various areas of growth to improve our revenue. We do see an upward trend, a future that is brighter than it was in the last 2 years. Next slide, please. This is just indicates that in 2024, unlike the past financial years, we are improving, and going forward, we would be in a far better position than we are now. Continue. Also, from water sales projections, we foresee there's a demand that we have in our from various people, and we do foresee an increase in that water sales projections, and we think we are likely to provide because certain of our customers they use less than what has been allocated. Next slide. This is just an analysis of key production costs, which is similar to all other boards. Our key cost drivers will be electricity, which is Eskom's energy, as well as the chemicals, which have been forever increasing going forward, and the effort production of those same water. Next slide, please. This is a statement of financial positions. As I've said earlier on, we see an improvement. If we look at 2025 and compare last year, you see there's 91 million going forward, and going forward, the numbers are increasing. And these are factual projections, and they have been proven to be reliable and something that we are working towards to achieve. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Second time. Yes, next slide. Yes, I think it's important that we had to respond using our own financial resources to deal with load shedding challenges. We had to purchase, diesel generators at our own cost, and then including the diesel, because we could not recoup that money from the tariff that we're getting, but we have to ensure that we honor the water supply agreements that we have in place, hence we have to invest. These generators will never be a white elephant because at times we experience adverse weather conditions where ESCOM power is cut. So we rely on these generators to provide water. This is just an illustration of how far we've gone insofar as investing in the future of water. Next slide, please. Risk. I won't spend much time here. It's important to state that we've got 12 risks that we identified during a risk assessment workshop, and we also developed an action plan responding to those risks. The action plan also includes the audit outcomes that we have been generating, hence we managed to maintain our audit opinions. Next slide, please. That just shows how far we have progressed in carrying out our audit action plan, a type of an area ranging from SCM, expenditure, annual financial statement review, improvement of internal controls, and performance information overall. Next slide, please. Those are step 12 strategic risks that I spoke about. I think I can skip this one. Move, please. This is shows a progress in achieving all of those strategic risks that I have managed. There's work in progress, 70% and achievement 80%, which are still yet to be completed, or that would be 11%. There's a huge increase there and better performance. Next slide, please. I've already spoken to this one. Next, please. Next slide. This also shows, in terms of our staff complement, it shows our spread. What is important is we are almost achieving what we want to do. We want to have a 50-50 split, at least 50% males and 50% females. We seem to be achieving that. Currently, we have 58 males overall staff component and 42 females. I think the numbers may change because we are expecting 2 senior females to join us. That will also change the gender split. We will see an improvement because our target is to achieve 50-50 split. Next slide, please. The same applies to our board composition. Our target was to, well, maybe I shouldn't say our target. It was a plan which was also endorsed by the minister at the time to improve our gender representation and the composition of the whole organization. Hence, currently, the board composition is 55% males and 45% females. Far better than what it was before. Let's move, please. I think in a nutshell, that is an overall summarized presentation that I'm giving to you, Chairperson, and portfolio committees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Buthelezi. Thank you for the presentation and thank you for the 3 presentations. Colleagues, can I ask that we have a 5 minutes comfort break and then we will start with a questioning at 1:45. I will afford the Minister the opportunity before we start the questions just to round up. But if we can break for 5 minutes now, we will start 1:45 again. Thank you.
Chair, we've lost you. What's happening?
We're
No,
taking
we
a
have not lost
5-minute break.
Hello?
We'll be back at 10:45. We haven't lost him. He's given us a 5-minute comfort break.
Thank you, Malebo.
Rebecca Robinson.
I think we can continue. Minister, would you like to conclude before we start with the questioning?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'm covered, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable members, it's time now for questioning. Could I get hands? Honourable Matlala, you are welcome to start with the questioning. And then Honourable Ditebe. Honourable Matlala, you may
Thanks so
continue.
much, Chairperson. How many questions are you?
Let's go 2 rounds. Let's go 2 rounds, Chair. Honourable Member, let's go with 3 questions. 3 or 4 questions is fine, and then we can go for a second round as well.
Okay. No, Chair, thanks, man. Nna ke batla ho thoma ka e ya shareholder compact, which the department e boletseng ka yona earlier. Minister, ke batla o nthuse man. Ba boletse ka re Minister is part of the shareholder compact, and then he's taking, is in charge, everything that is done there, he's organizing the plannings and everything of the department. And then in terms of finances, Minister o teng wana mola o tlhokometse gore dilo ka moka ga tsona di tsamaya ka thelelo. Mara nna ntho e ntlabang gore wena Minister, dilo di a tlhakatlhakana man mo go di-water board. Mara le ntse le le teng le tlhokometse mara ga go tlhakane selo. So ke a ipotsisa gore go ba go senyegile kae because di-plan tsona le na le tsona go a kwagala gore di-board di dira di-plans di a lefa, and then le di-finances o di tlo tsamaya jwang di-board di a lefa. Mara bothata ke gore dilo a di tlhakane. Di-board tša rena tše ngata di fella mo tseleng, di-board tše e le gore rena re be re ipoditse gore mmušo wa gola, di-entity di a gola, di-entity di tla ba gona ka tla tlhokomela batho ba bo rena ka mešomo le ka dilo tše ngata. And then ntho ya gore o hwetše mafelelong re sa tle re sana di-entity tša mmušo e fele re nyaka di-entity tša mmušo gore batho ba kgone go hwetša mebereko and ba kgone go hwetša di-salary tše e le gore di a tsebalega, because re a tseba gore di-private company a di tlhokomele batho botse ka fase ga taba tša ditšhelete megolo ya bona, because bona ba focus too much on profit. Number 2, Chair, on revenue enhancement, with a target of consolidated revenue of 110 billion within 3 years, what specific strategies will be implemented to ensure that water boards achieve this ambitious goal? How do you plan to address potential shortfalls in revenue generation? That is going also to the Department of Water and Sanitation. And then the last question, which is on also the Department of Water and Sanitation. You plan to make capital investment of 27 billion within 3 years. Can you provide a detailed breakdown of how these funds will be allocated among the various water boards, and what measures are in place to ensure accountability and transparency in these investments? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Member, can you maybe just assist me and just translate your first question? It's your right to speak in your home language, or could someone just translate? I didn't get the question, and I would like to make sure that the question is answered according to what you have asked. Either you translate, or we ask the department or the secretariat to translate. My apology.
No, they will translate, I think, Chair, but the minister have heard. The question was directed to the minister.
Thank you very much. The minister
I
can
think in terms
translate.
of language, she do understand, and then she will respond on the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me appreciate the questions from Honorable Mahlala. Honorable Mahlala, indeed, you said we come up with plans, but departments, I mean the water boards, get they don't respond accordingly. They get bankrupt. They close down. It is quite a complicated matter. That one, on our side, when we talk about this shareholder compact that is entered between the minister and the executive as an executive authority with the boards, it's a measure of monitoring the performances of these boards. That is why we are able to say this board is on the verge of collapse. This board is doing very well, but the contributing factor to the boards going bankrupt is because of our clientele. We can do everything, but if boards provide services and services are not paid for, they will not be financially sustainable. So ours is that we have to monitor them, because the boards also go out on financial markets. So we must ensure that they have good image when they approach markets. So the markets will expect that when they give a loan finances to the boards, there is good governance. So that shareholder compact, it's just to ensure that we have everything under control, not micromanaging the water boards, but there are certain levels of accountability that the water boards are supposed to do. So it is about ensuring that there is delivery of services as per the mandate of those water boards. So if it was out of our own making, not a single water board was supposed to be dissolved. But it becomes beyond our own control because of the services that they are providing. So that will be the response, Chair. The other two questions, the CFO and DG will respond to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. DG?
Thank you, Chairperson. So, as indicated in Toko's presentation, the water boards are financially self-sustaining. The figures that Honourable Mahlala referred to is for all 7 water boards, not just for these 3. And the water boards, as indicated, borrow money for their capital investment programs, and then they have to pay off those debts from the revenue that they get. Those figures for capital investments that Honourable Mahlala referred to are borrowings that will be done by the water boards, primarily the 2 largest water boards, which is Rand Water and uMngeni-uThukela Water. And they also coincidentally are the 2 water boards which are in the best financial health, because they largely serve metros, which are still paying them relatively well. Honourable Mahlala also asked, what do we do to address the challenges and to assist the water boards? we've been putting a lot of effort, both within the department and by the minister, to assist the water boards to address the problem of debts owed to them by municipalities. The minister has been having weekly meetings every Sunday evening with municipalities and provincial MECs for COGTA and premiers and mayors to get commitments for them to pay the water boards. And then at official level, we've also been engaging with COGTA and National Treasury, and we have reached agreement on a last resort measure to for particular municipalities which are still not paying the water boards the current invoices, which would be for National Treasury to withhold the equitable share. And then further to that, we initiated a process with National Treasury based on what we saw with the debt relief mechanism that was put in place for municipalities which owe Eskom. And we are busy finalizing now a debt relief mechanism for the debts, old debts owed by municipalities to be written off by water boards, and us in turn to write off those same amounts from the debts owed by the water boards to us. And that will greatly assist the water boards like Vaal Central in terms of getting them to have balance sheets which will be seen by lenders as organizations to which they can lend money. So at the moment, as indicated in the presentations, Vaal Central is not able to raise money in the markets because of the state of its balance sheet. So we've been putting a lot of work into assisting the water board in these areas that I've spoken about to enable it to have a balance sheet which it can use to raise money for these capital investment programs. Doko, do you want to add?
Yes, DG, thank you. I think in terms of the shareholder complex, it's being Honorable Mothala. It's evaluated on a quarterly basis where we look at the quarterly reports and the minister writes to the water board to deal with the issues of compliance and also where there are corrective actions. And in terms of where there are challenges, we also monitor the early warning key performance indicators, which indicate the financial health of the organization. The details around the revenue projections are detailed, Honorable Mothala, on slide 22 per each water boards in terms of their indicative figures for the coming 3 years, with rainwater in terms of revenue projections, projecting about 66 billion, and uMngeni-Water at 23 billion over the next 3 years. The other ones I will not go through, but they are on slide 22 listed in terms of the department overview. Thank you, DG.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mothala, are you satisfied with the answers?
No, let's move, Chairperson, it's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ditebe, your questions?
Chairperson, greetings to you, to the Minister, to the DG, to the chairs and CEs and CFOs of the boards and everybody else, colleagues, everybody else from the department. Chairperson, let me just take this opportunity to perhaps do the obvious. Thank the Minister in a particular context for her insisting that the Deputy Minister would rather attend the Cabinet Committee meeting and that she will stay here. You will remember, Chair, that at one point when the Minister made a statement on the dam safety situation, I said she has a skin in the game, and I think I'm basically reaffirming that by saying so, Chair. So I thank her for that, because this also helps to provide leadership to all issues that are very, very difficult, very complex that we are dealing with, covering all the entities that have presented so far, Chair. So let me then start off by perhaps putting my question or questions to the Vaal Central Water, because that is one water board, as you would know, that's basically dragging the sector down in terms of the degree of indebtedness of the entity because of non-payment by municipalities. Chairperson, before I do so, I reported a matter which basically was just operational, where the manholes of one of the of the department, of the Vaal Central Water, were tampered with by people that had their kettles there illegally. That was attended to yesterday. I saw that, and I know that this water board is under serious constraint. It may seem small, but the responsiveness is quite encouraging, and I think we can build on that and do many more things that have been stated here. Chair, my question is with regards to Maludia Pofung. There's a lot that's stated there. For example, the aged infrastructure. How much is it going to cost to replace that infrastructure? What is the extent of the pipeline that will be replaced, and when does the entity envisage that it will source funds to do that? And Machabeng, the chairperson of the board, said that Vaal Central is owed 10 billion rand in total. If my numbers are still correct, Mangaung owes just under 1 billion rand because they paid 35 million rand. As far as I know, Dr. Morosi will probably confirm that, and the acting CFO and the chair, and the current invoice. And I think there must be a plan to ensure that while everybody should take responsibility, Chair, that Mangaung does not deteriorate below that. It should continue to improve on the 1 billion rand. And I think perhaps the DG might want to confirm at what point then will Mangaung get a reprieve because of the municipalities that are owned by Vaal Central Water. It does seem, notwithstanding the fact that it's a metro, it's got a very large revenue base, it does seem that it is committed to ensuring that it pays its dues. Now, Chair, just to conclude, it is important that with respect to Vaal Central, I've seen the work of Vaal Central Water because there is a PMO appointed to fix all the 57 pump stations and the wastewater treatment works in Machabeng. But it is important that there isn't just one company that is overly committed at the level of the contractor to do this. The PMO, I think, is doing quite a wonderful job there, but we need to start commissioning, even if it's partially so, some of the wastewater treatment works. And Chair, to emphasize, protect the infrastructure. Some of us, in fact, I think all of us as colleagues here, public representatives, must commit to ensuring that we help the department protect its infrastructure, because when Dr. Morosi presented, she said that a great deal of that destruction is attributable to theft, to vandalism. And that's the case right across the board. Chair, I think I'll ask some of the questions directed to other entities in the next round, but I'm utterly concerned, Chair, by the state of Machabeng. These weekend meetings, we need to start seeing results. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Minister, would you like to speak on this, or could we go to Vaal Central?
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Honourable Chairperson, thank you very much to Honourable Ditebe. The issue of Machabeng is, as I've said several times here on this portfolio committee, that is very worrisome. Instead of things improving, they are worsening. I've spoken to and engaged the mayor and the MEC for Kokta. Hence, they are intervening on Machabeng because we have to turn the situation around. Unfortunately, Chair, some of the things that are in the Constitution is not very easy to bend and take over under normal circumstances. We're supposed to have taken over the water and sanitation in Emachabeng to rescue our people from the sufferings there. In fact, Chair, most of those municipalities in Free State in particular, they are collapsing. I have to be honest in this meeting, they are collapsing. We are just awaiting for the final report from COCTA so that we package our joint intervention as COCTA, as National Treasury, as water, as well as energy and electricity. But let's allow the chair of Vaal Central to respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Vaal Central, would you like to respond to the questions?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister, once again, and honorable members. I will start with the second question, the issue of the honorable member determined on the amount that was owed, which initially was 6 billion. That amount was at the time of the amalgamation or the integration of the two. But even after the amalgamation, Machabeng has not honored its payment. It has been defaulting. Over the 2 years, it has now escalated and attracted another 4 billion, and that amount will be inclusive, of course, with the interest that are then added as on monthly basis as it goes into these issues. It is on those bases that the DG correctly articulated that what we have put in place, where the municipality has made a payment plan, which Machabeng to date has not honored and has not made any, where they then undertake to pay the current account, we then look at the period consistency and then begin to write off the debts that has been in there in tandem with what the DG has said. We have seen this improvement in Nala. We've seen this improvement in the Northern Cape, where the Premier and the MECs, with the assistance and the intervention of the Minister and the Director General, have come on board and rigorously monitor. Equally so with the Free State. If you look on the second one that deals with Mangaung, Mangaung has made tremendous improvement in terms of the honoring of the commitment that they've made, as well as the payment plan. The improvement obviously will not be 100%, but there is a significant movement from the past that will then, in the incentive, that will then justify at some point the write-off of the interest that was then calculated. Maluti Apofu will recall that the involvement of Vaal Central is only as per the ministerial directive. Maluti Apofu, they have their own water services, which is called Maluti Water. So they are responsible in terms of those, despite there has been, we are aware after the engagements with them, we were, or of the assistance that we take over their infrastructure, so that we then begin to, and the supply, so that we then can cost even the level of the deterioration. But what our presentation is addressing, even on the ministerial directives, at some point, even when we completed the upgrading of certain of the water treatment plants, the vandalism has taken place in, obviously, it's this issue of the copper theft, as well as, in fact, the element of the contractors themselves that has also gone back and dealt with these matters. And these are the matters that gets reported to the police. But as to the cost of the entire refurbishment, we will not begin to give this to the committee. However, we will humbly request for an indulgence to then respond in it with accurate figures in writing. But currently in that area, we know that we are, as the Vaal Central and in terms of the ministerial directive and the department, we are responsible for the 3 major pipelines in that area. In Velge, which is in Harrismith, as well as Mahulukweng, which is in the remote area, as well as the Koko pipeline that we're supposed to be completing by the end of March next year. We'll give the cost of what the department has invested in terms of those in writing. The Machabeng issue, the appointment of the PMU, there is a PMO that is operative in that area. However, we have identified the problem because most and some of the contractors were initially appointed by the municipality, and we are terminating some of the non-performing contractors, and correctly so. What Honorable Dithebe has articulated, we have seen the duplication and multiplicity of appointment of people with no capacity, and at such level, we have begun to terminate in those areas. The minister has taken the other interventions. Will also allow the CEO to amplify the remaining, if she can, or the CFO. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, CFO or CEO.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think the Chairperson has covered all the issues, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Dithebe, are you satisfied that on the aging infrastructure cost, they will give that to us within the next 14 days? Are you satisfied with the answers of the questions?
I am, Chair, on that score, just to emphasize that there's work, especially this being part of the ministerial intervention. If you go to Machabeng again in the town of Velcom, there's wastewater treatment works complete. Seronia, 9 kilometers of the land belongs to farmers, 7 kilometers is municipal land, and there's a problem of the outfall sewer that cannot be constructed there because the farmers are hiking the price. We would like that practically very, very speedily to be resolved so that that whole menace can be gotten rid of. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Moore, your hand was up. I don't see it up again. I know you were off the platform. Would you like to ask a question? Otherwise, I'm going to Honorable Ramaila.
Yeah, you're welcome to move on. My connection's letting me down. Thanks very much to the Minister and all of the presenters. I think it's very good to get an in-depth view of all of these presentations. Overall, though, I'd like to ask the department, the 2 things that I'm picking up of concern are obviously, I think everyone's aware of, is municipal non-payments, but also it seems like we're reaching towards an area where water boards, a number of water boards are coming against their extraction licenses without a solution sometime in the interim, in the short to medium term. A lot of the projects are long-term solutions to the expansions allowing for more extraction. I'd appreciate a little bit of information on that. And also just to Vaal Central, obviously Vaal Central is at a core of our concern. And to the Minister, to the department, to the board, I suppose, are any specific interventions you can highlight to us again on what's being done to prevent the threatened financial challenges that could occur next year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Minister, over to you.
Honorable Chair, I did not get the question properly. I'm not sure whether it is my network. If you could just summarize for the Chair.
Yeah, he just asked whether you could maybe elaborate on the municipal non-payment and the processes. We all know the processes that we as a committee, yourself and National Treasury followed, but I think he wants more the assurance that you're having your meetings and it just maybe give more information on that. And then the second one was on Vaal Central, the interventions that that is taking place currently with the Premier of the provinces to assist this intervention as well. That's the two questions.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable Moore. The process is at an advanced stage now where we are agreeing with National Treasury as well as COGTA that the equitable share that is supposed to go to municipalities must be withheld by the National Treasury up until they pay their invoices. So they will receive their equitable share based on the payment of their invoices. So that is why our every Sunday meeting we want all municipalities to sign the acceptance of their debt, the payment plan of their debts, so that we don't keep on paying on behalf of or giving services without them paying. But the other issue that we've just picked up in one of the municipal board, I think of our water board, is wherein these municipalities are saying we owe water boards because we are also owed by national governments, provincial governments, as well as entities. So we said the same approach must be used where municipalities are owed by provincial and national government. Their allocation must also be withheld. They must pay. Because if municipalities are owed, they will be unable to pay water boards. So we said there must be a comprehensive way of dealing with also national and provincial departments as well as entities. The case in hand is Amatola. Amatola is owed by more than 8, if not 10, national departments, provincial departments, and entities. Hence, they are owing us a lot of money. So we said they must deal with that. The Premier of Eastern Cape, for instance, said tomorrow we will be interacting with all provincial MECs to ensure that they pay Amatola for Amatola to be able to pay. If we can just sign that with the provinces as well as national treasury, then will ease the pressure or from water boards of them being not paid by the water boards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. DG, would you like to add to this? And Central Vaal, would you like to also add to this question, answers?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Moore also asked a question about the extraction limit. For these water boards, the water board which is most affected by that is uMngeni-uThukela water board. There isn't enough water in the uMngeni water system to supply the increased demand, particularly coming from eThekwini. We realized that as DWS, and we planned for the Upper uMkhamazi Dam, which is a huge project to build a dam and a large pipeline, a 28 or 30 billion rand project. Unfortunately, the start of that project was delayed for about 10 years because eThekwini Metropolitan Municipality was unwilling to sign an offtake agreement to enable the project to be financed because it's a very expensive project and the tariffs, they viewed the tariffs as being too high for the residents of eThekwini. We resolved that issue about a year and a half ago by applying to National Treasury's budget facility for infrastructure, and they agreed to provide a 25% grant and a 25% loan to the TCTA, which enabled the required tariff in the offtake agreement to be reduced to the extent that eThekwini would be willing to sign an offtake agreement. And then that happened earlier this year, and the finances are now being raised for the project, and the dam is being designed. But as Honourable Moore pointed out, that's a long-term initiative to increase water in the uMngeni system, and short and medium-term measures are also required. There's a number of those underway, including that the Water Board is building another smaller dam on the lower Umkomazi, which should be completed in about 2 or 3 years' time. I think it's in about 2026, together with the water treatment works. We recently completed the raising of the dam of the wall of the Hazelmere Dam, which is also we're going to upgrade the water treatment works there, which has also provided some increase to the water supply in the northern eThekwini area. And then as part of the Presidential Business Initiative in eThekwini, we are closely monitoring the implementation of the turnaround strategy of eThekwini municipality. eThekwini's non-revenue water is one of the highest in the country. It's close to 60%, although they've managed to reduce it a little bit recently with the implementation of the turnaround strategy. So part of the solution, Honourable Moore, is for eThekwini to reduce the huge amount of water which is leaking in its distribution system all the time. And that alone would mean that there would no longer be water shortages, and there would be enough water from the uMngeni system to meet the needs if the leaks in eThekwini's distribution system could be reduced. And then finally, we are also going to be working with eThekwini and the Water Board to have a large-scale communications and awareness campaign in all the municipalities which are the customers of uMngeni-uThukela water around the need to use water more sparingly. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Vaal Central, would you like to add something to the questions, answers to the questions?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. None. I think the Minister covered all.
Thank you very much. Honourable Moore, are you satisfied with your answers?
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy.
Thank you very much. Honourable Ramayila, your questions?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to the Minister and colleagues, the DG and the officials and the water boards represented here. First is a comment. I would also like to comment on especially the presentation layout by uMngeni-uThukela Water Board, because it's the way it is so clear is able to allow one, if you read it for the first time, to understand how it flows. But on top of that is in terms of their revenue forecast. The revenue forecast is in relation to the explanatory notes that they've mentioned, but also that the revenue forecast takes into consideration various scenarios that can happen in between the medium-term period. And it is informed by that. They already explain what to do if things happen in a negative way, how they're going to be adjusting their finances and all those things, which I haven't seen in the other two water boards. It's just a word of appreciation in that regard, Chair. My first question, or it's a comment as well, Chair. Whilst I can understand that the biggest challenge water boards face is due to municipal debts, that is well understood. But I would want the water boards to also ramp up their communication strategy, Chair. Whilst they are facing same challenges but their performance are not the same. Why would other water boards perform better than others and serving the same, almost the same clients? It would be because, in my view, the communication strategy for other boards is quite sharp, is quite good. So I'm just want to make this recommendation that they ramp up their communication strategy, but particularly here, the relationship between chairpersons of boards and the mayors of water service authorities. That is very, very important, because in most instances, the communication is left between officials of water boards and officials of the municipalities. And you know generally what happened in that regard. So my recommendation is that they should ramp up the communication, particularly between the chairperson and the mayors, executive mayors of the water service authorities. And now my second one is, in as far as this revenue forecast is concerned, obviously it will be informed by quite a number of issues, historical data, past sales figures, trends, and all those relevant financial information and economic trends. Now, that being the case, I then wonder how Vaal Central came to that determination, because the outer 3 years, their revenue is at the same percentage. There's no increment, it's just at the very same percentage. And in my understanding, once their supply is increasing, in economic terms, increase in supply must be accompanied by increase in revenue. And in this instance, it's not the same thing. I think they may want to really reconsider that, and unless I get another explanation as far as that is concerned. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Minister, I think there was a comment made, and then on Vaal Central, the increase of revenue. So could you speak on this, and then we maybe can hand over to Vaal Central. I don't think there was a direct question to uMngeni, just a comment, but if they would like to speak on the comment, they're more than welcome. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Thank you to Honourable Ramaila. Chair, let me agree indeed with Honourable Ramaila that the performance of our board vary from one board to another, and there are various reasons for that. Remember, the Vaal Central had to inherit a huge debt, inherit the staff that was not very capacitated to be able to discharge on the mandate. Different altogether from uMngeni-uThukela, different from the rainwater. The observation is very correct. The observation is very correct. To understand that when I met with the water boards, I said they must also do learn best practice from one another. So they are on track of doing that. If you look at Overberg is a rural water board. They struggle even to attract skilled people who want to come and serve and work in that space. So the observation is very correct. I will request the DG to come in on the state of collecting of revenue by Vaal Central, and then the chairperson of Vaal. Thank you very much.
EG.
Thank you, Minister. Chairperson, I think in our previous answers we've covered the issue of the revenue collection by Vaal Central. Just to summarize again, the minister's meeting with the Premier and the MECs and the mayors and the municipalities has been effective, and that there's been more municipalities committing to pay, and the payments have improved. But there are two municipalities which we're particularly concerned about, which are not currently paying their invoices to Vaal Central, and that is Kopanong and Matjhabeng. And for those two, we have written to National Treasury asking them to withhold the equitable share. So, and we are hopeful that this will change the payment patterns for those two municipalities. The key thing is to get all the municipalities to start paying their current invoices in full, and then we can start looking at improving Vaal Central's balance sheet by having a gradual process of writing off old debt of municipalities to Vaal Central and the debt from Vaal Central to our water trading entity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Vaal Central, the chairperson advocate, would you like to add something to this?
Chair, we might just buttress the issue of the increase of the supply not being in tandem with the revenue. And I will just request the CFO to amplify that. Thank you, Chair.
CFO?
Chair, yes, the revenue that increase that is being projected is in accordance with what is expected to be built, and that is aligned with the approved tariff increases and expected future tariff increases, as well as a provision is being made for increase in expected demand, also considering the capacity constraints within the various infrastructure that we've got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ramayila, are you satisfied with the questions answered?
Chair, I'm not satisfied because I had made a recommendation, they haven't spoken about it, of them ramping up their communication strategy. Because I can tell you, where a water board has a good communication strategy and a good relationship with a municipality, particularly the chair and the mayor of that water service authority, it's critical that relationship to be improved because it helps the municipalities honoring their debts. But I raised a question on the revenue forecast to Vaal. And I said the revenue forecast for the outer 3 years is the same percentage, whilst at the same time, their supply has increased. I want to get the reason why, in economic terms, I'm saying an increase in supply must be accompanied by an increase in revenue. Why is it not like that?
CFO Randval, can you maybe just clarify that for the member?
Thank you. If we look at the outer 3 years, it has increased. It is an increase of a 10.19%, where a 9% is projected as an increase in the tariffs, as well as a 1% increase in the water volume demand. That's been factored into the 10.19%. If you do the calculation between the volumes and the tariff increases. Thank you.
Can I quickly ask that you flight that page, please, and then explain that again? Can someone just flight that presentation and that page so that everybody understands 100% what you are talking about? And then can I also ask you that you maybe sit nearer to the mic? It's like you're speaking into a pipe. It could be on my side, but can we quickly just deal with this? If you can just show the slide and then explain to the honourable member and other members on that slide, please.
Can we flight that?
Yeah.
No, it's not flighted. It was on, but it's not flighted. I can just reflight it. Could we just flight that again? And just refer to which page you are on. I think it would be on the Vaal Central's. Okay, you've got it. Go ahead. CFO, can you please direct the people to which page and which?
The previous page, please. The previous slide. That's it. if we look at the forecasted columns from 2026 to 2028-29, there's the increase from the 3 billion towards the 3.6 billion over those years. It's indicated there's a percentage increase in revenue in those outer years of 10.19, which is inclusive of a 9% tariff increase and also a 1% volume increase, and the total percentage increase due to the volume times tariff increase will give you that 10.19% that are being forecasted in the 3 outer years.
Thank you very much. It's clear now. Honorable Ramayila, are you now satisfied? They have showed...
Thank you, Chair.
Right. Honorable Ditebe?
Chairperson, thank you very much. Just 2 quick things, Chair. I think it's quite clear while municipalities generally are responsible for ensuring that there is revenue, collected from the end user. First, in the spirit of the district development model, one plans, it is quite obvious, Chair, and the Minister correctly so has highlighted the issue of certain constraints that are placed on her department insofar as Chapter 3 of the Constitution goes and attendant legislation. But in the end, notwithstanding the good intent that the drafters of our Constitution had, these things are impacting very negatively on people. 2 things, as we speak, Chair, in the area of literally Putswa, the municipality of Masilonyana, Brandford, and Tiernazen do not have water. They haven't had water for 2 weeks. The reason? Because the treatment of water there is by a private person. And I think if you compare that situation to that of Maluti Apofung, it's quite obvious where Vaal Central, as per the ministerial directive, gets involved. There's an improvement of the situation there in terms of the building of infrastructure. So I want to therefore emphatically propose 2 things: that in the immediate, that situation be arrested most urgently in the Masilonyana municipality. And I actually have given you that preliminary remark to say, I know what the situation is there. So, and to also explore in the same way as we have in Mfuleni, explore the special purpose vehicle. If you look at Tukuluho, if you look at Tswelopele, you look at Masilonyana, just by way of example, I think we need to explore that most urgently in the medium to long term. But we think we need to have something done very urgently about the Masilonyana situation, Chairperson. So that's really what I'd like to say at this moment, because it's something very urgent that I wanted to raise in the committee, please.
Thank you very much. Minister?
Chair, the proposal is quite good, but we have to canvass that proposal with municipalities. Remember, this is a sphere of government which we cannot dictate to. We can advise, because for them to adopt the special purpose vehicle route, they must also have a council decision to deal with that. But we take and welcome that we will propose accordingly. The situation is very bleak, as Honorable Ditebe is alluded to, that people don't have water. And how do we then intervene? It was going to be easier to intervene had municipalities around Free State paid Vaal Central. So Vaal Central, as you can see, the cash flow, that it is one of the water boards that we said we must ensure that we monitor them very close. So it will be difficult for them to expand more given the financial situation that they find themselves in. However, we don't undermine the recommendation or proposal. We'll work on it and engage the political leadership of those of the municipalities that have been mentioned here. Thank you very much.
Advocate, would you like to add something to what the Minister has said?
Thank you, Chair. I may not add to what the Minister said. Minister is spot on. However, it might be important to give comfort to Honourable Member Ramayila on his proposal to ramp up the relationship and the communication with the mayors. It's true. We have done so. It's beginning to pay dividends. For instance, today, as we sit here, we had scheduled a meeting with the mayor of Nala, which we have just postponed to later during the day, and we have seen significant progress. Mangaung is the same issue, as well as in the Northern Cape, where there is a direct contact with the executive mayor or councillors themselves. It buttresses the initiative that the minister has taken with the premiers and the MECs. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much. That was the response on the previous question. Honourable Ditebe, are you satisfied with the remarks from the Minister?
Chairperson, I am, but just as by way of a comment, you know, this situation is so painful. A private service provider there, I'm told, has withheld their equipment, which is used to treat water. People are now without water for 2 weeks. I'm just saying, yes, I accept what the Minister is saying, but it points to the correctness of the direction that the department has taken, where in some instances, some private service providers, not all of them are bad, but where there are these issues, we need to intervene decisively. And I think this recommendation of an uMngeni type SPV is very urgent. And I think we need to canvass for the adoption of such a decision resolution by the various municipalities there, so that relief can be brought to people. Thank you, Chair.
Vaal Central, can I ask you just to speak on this matter? The Honourable Member has mentioned on the private owner that's withholding equipment. Can you elaborate on that for us, please? Or if you can't, then you do an investigation and come back with a report within 14 days. It's your decision.
Thank you, Chair. The Minister has covered it's a municipality and the private person. However, the committee can take comfort that the municipality has brought an agent court application today for a spoliation order to then restore the matter, to compel the contractor to restore the equipment in the plant. We are watching it closely, despite that not being our area, but we assist, and also the CEO has assisted in terms of the water tankers in that area, but we are assisting the municipality. Should then the order be successful, we'll also assist. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Matlala.
Yes, Chairperson.
There you go.
Yes, Chair.
Your hand
Minister,
is up.
the recent reconfigurations has reduced the number of water boards from 9 to 7. What evaluation criteria were used to determine this reconfiguration? And how will this change enhance service delivery and operational efficiency? I heard during the presentation, they tried to explain that they have now make these two boards to be one board, which will take care of everything in the province of KZN. And they are even thinking of, if everything goes in order, they will also go to an extent of going out of the province and assisting in terms of water issues. So can they respond on that regard? So on governance and can you elaborate on the new oversight model being developed to strengthen governance and financial performance? What are the anticipated challenges in implementing this model, and how do you plan to address all those things? Lastly, Chairperson, that I want to bring to the attention of the Minister. Given the critical stage of water resources, what innovative strategies are being implemented for water conservation and demand management, particularly in the Vaal River and uMngeni systems? I thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Chair, thank you to Honorable Mhlala. Chair, on the innovations, we have tried to ensure that we release water from various water resources in terms of the dams at the moment, whilst we are busy with the Lesotho Highlands tunnel. We, as DG said earlier on, that the issue of water for Gauteng, which will also affect part of Free State and Northern Cape, will it really be resolved entirely when we have completed the phase 2 of Lesotho, which is running behind schedule. I must say to the committee that phase 2 is running behind schedule. We are standing at 18% as against 28%, which was supposed to be at now. And we are engaging our counterparts in Lesotho that we must accelerate work on phase 2 at all fronts. So far, if in water could be saved from leaking, we could save a lot of water, and we could see these water boards being able to give municipalities the required capacity of water that they need. But now at the current moment, irrespective of how much water they give, that water does not reach them. So it means the challenge will persist throughout up until these challenges are attended to. And Honorable Mhlala, it is not only in the Vaal. I thank your question. It is not only the challenge of the Vaal Central. It is the challenge throughout the country, where municipalities are really are not upping their game in terms of ensuring that we preserve water. You know, this every time we have interviews, we always urge South Africans to use water sparingly, and we have outlined 5 basic things that must be done to assist these water boards to be able to carry out their mandate to an expected level. If municipalities could meet us halfway by ensuring that they adhere to those things that make them not to have enough water in their reservoirs, not to have enough water that they can give to communities. But let me allow the DG and uThukela to clarify once more the criteria which was used to match uMngeni and uThukela, as well as on the matters of governance. Thank you very much.
DG.
Thank you, Minister, Chairperson. There were several underlying principles, the most important of which were to achieve economies of scale. In other words, to have larger, stronger water boards, which have stronger balance sheets, which are able to borrow the money required to invest in the infrastructure, and also that can have the required skills and attract the required skills to be able to perform their functions. Another major imperative was, even though water is not a provincial function, the provincial governments, and particularly the provincial cooperative governance departments, do play an important role in terms of working with us and engaging with municipalities in various ways. For example, as we've indicated in this meeting, the ministers' meetings with the provincial governments and the municipalities have been effective in terms of resulting in an improvement in payment by municipalities. And the roles of the premiers and the MECs for Coctus have been key in that. So we also one of the main objectives of the reconfiguration was to, generally speaking, make the boundaries of the water boards better match the provincial boundaries, so that a particular water board could be related to a particular provincial government and work with the water board could then work with the relevant provincial government and provincial COCTA to deal with precisely these kind of issues, such as the debts owed by municipalities to water boards. In terms of the benefits that have accrued, we can see the economies of scale and the better financial sustainability. Even though Vaal Central does have problems, Sedibeng Water was on the verge of going bankrupt. That was avoided, and the services are still being provided to the municipalities, which were the clients of Sedibeng Water. If the reconfiguration hadn't happened, that wouldn't be the case. And it's we've spoken about how the impact that has had on Vaal Central, but I think the situation is better for those municipalities than if Sedibeng had just gone bankrupt and stopped providing water. And as indicated in the meeting, we do have plans in place to make sure that the same doesn't happen with Vaal Central, and that it's able to, and that we're able to deal with the few municipalities who are not paying Vaal Central. And we can see from the inputs in this meeting that there is better coordination between the provincial governments now and ourselves and the water boards as a result of this reconfiguration. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable Matlala, are you satisfied with the response?
Yes, I'm covered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I ask whether Mr. Mkhize would like just to add something to the amalgamation of the water board where he is now the CEO?
Thank you, Chairperson. I am covered by the DG. What I can say is that yes, we are seeing economies of scale from the operation, and also the opportunities to grow the water boards in terms of area of supply, and also reaching more customers that we can service. So from our side as uMngeni-uThukela Water, we are seeing the benefits. There are challenges, Minister, that we are dealing with the department, such as amalgamating two water boards that are not at the same level. There will be human resource issues that one has to deal with. The salary disparities that you have to deal with. But all that, Chair, we have put measures in place to address them. And we believe that come this time next year, all those issues will have been addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask a question to the Minister and the department, whether there is any plans in future to look at the water losses and invest much more money in the pipe infrastructure that we've got to replace, than rather spending money on purification plants that where you would increase the purification plant and there's a water loss of 30%, that 30% of that water will also be lost through those same pipe leaks. Whether in near future we would see something on a big scale where money will be invested purely to get our water leaks down by replacing pipes. Maybe Minister, you and the DG could tell us about that. Thank you.
DG, can you come in? I lost Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, Chairperson, you're quite correct. It doesn't make sense for us to build more dams and more water treatment works and spend billions of that money if 40 or 50% of that water is going to be lost in leaks in the municipal distribution systems. It's much more effective to fix the leaks. It's much cheaper to fix the leaks, in fact, than to build the huge new dams and water treatment works. The challenge, Chairperson, is in the constitutional division of functions between national government and municipalities. The distribution systems where almost all the leaks are happening are in municipal distribution systems. It's their infrastructure, it's the municipality's infrastructure, and they own it. And the whole fiscal system of the country is based on the notion that the operation and maintenance of that infrastructure must be paid for from revenue from the sale of water. So there's structural challenges in local government which are resulting in a situation where the municipalities aren't properly operating and maintaining their infrastructure, which is resulting in this high level of non-revenue water. And that's why we've developed the amendments to the Water Services Act, which we are currently engaging with the state law advisor about, so that we can get their certificate, so that we can present them to Cabinet for Cabinet to approve that they be submitted to Parliament. These amendments will start moving the sector towards a situation where, for example, revenues from the sale of water should be ring-fenced for expenditure on the water function within municipalities, and enable us to ensure that municipalities have a minimum level of capability to maintain and operate the water infrastructure properly. The other issue, Chairperson, is that it's going to be difficult for government alone and municipalities alone to raise the capital required to fix the leaks, and particularly to replace all the old infrastructure, such as the very old large distribution pipes in some municipalities, which are so old and so degraded that it's not just a matter of patching them, they need to be replaced. A huge amount of money is required for that. And that's where we need to try and have much more partnerships between municipalities, particularly the metropolitan ones and the private sector. And in that regard, we've established our Water Partnerships Office in partnership with DBSA and SALGA to assist municipalities to put in place those public-private partnerships. There is plenty of capital in the private sector in South Africa, which is looking for a place to invest. And our engagements with the banks and pension funds, they've indicated that they would very much like to invest in things like replacing leaking distribution pipes in municipalities. The challenge is to get the municipalities to bring bankable projects to the market. And that's what our Water Partnerships Office is focusing on working with municipalities to achieve. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, DG. DG, can I ask that we look in the new year at a workshop with COCTA, Water and Sanitation, SALGA, private sector, to see whether there is a win-win situation going forward. If you maybe can look in the new year, setting up such a workshop, a 2-day or day workshop concerning this matter, because it is crucial. At the end of the day, it still becomes your problem as the DG. People complain there's not enough water. Although you have managed to supply water, it's lost before it gets to the tap. So I would ask that you investigate that and maybe come back to the Portfolio Committee. Honourable members, is there any other member?
Honourable Chair?
Yes.
With that suggestion, we are finalizing the concept document for water in Daba before the end of this year. last week of November or the second week of December, we are intending to hold a water indaba, where we are going to raise all the water-related matters, invite municipalities, the private sector, the provincial governments, the traditional leadership, because we want an ownership of water infrastructure from all of us. We are going to bring different solutions that we think they must be taken forward by municipalities. We want to sign a declaration that is going to be binding. But when we are done with that, we'll keep the portfolio committee on the loop on all the preparations. And the portfolio committee will be invited as well, because we want to have a solution for water in South Africa. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you for that initiative, Minister. We appreciate that. Honourable members, is there any member that did not have the opportunity to ask a question that feels they need to ask a question? We've got a few minutes left. It seems that Overberg and uMngeni, they were lucky. There was no questions to them. Is there anybody that would like to ask them a question, or can I close the meeting? It seems everybody has asked their questions. Honourable members, please take note that next week we won't have a portfolio committee meeting. It is constituency week. The week after that, we've got a meeting with in person in the Good Hope chambers. We have now requested to continue with that meeting, although there is a parliament sitting. I had a meeting with the chair of chairs yesterday. It is a crucial meeting for the portfolio committee to speak to National Treasury, COCTA, and Water and Sanitation on the water boards and the funding and how we're going to deal with the outstanding amounts. So please note that it is possible that whilst there will be a parliament sitting on the 12th of November, portfolio committee will be sitting in person in the Good Hope Centre. But Secretariat will inform you as soon as it has been approved. Minister, would you finally like to close off this meeting from your side?
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair and Honourable members. Honourable Chair, we really want to thank you very much. And the suggestions and recommendations that have been put here by members, we are going to integrate them to our plans and ensure that we give as much support as possible to our water boards to be able to discharge on their mandates. But where the portfolio committee is worried about the state of municipalities in serving our people, we'll keep on engaging, not only as the department, but we'll also engage on your behalf when we engage with provincial governments as well as mayors. And I want to assure you, Chair, that in every cabinet meeting, the water is a standard item. We give update to cabinet on water issues. So we have lifted the issues of water to a higher level, even the debts that are owed. Once these debts are cleared, then we could be able to play a robust overall oversight on water boards. But now they are made to fail because of what they go through. But we are committing, Honourable Chair, that we'll do what is possible to ensure that South Africans must get water. Thank you very much, Chair. We really appreciate.
Thank you very much, Minister. Nosipho, is there anything else on the agenda that we really need to look at now?
No, Chairperson, we're done.
Thank you very much. Then I conclude that this meeting will be adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Honourable members.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Chair and committee members.
Appreciate.
Thank you.